Sixth graders, we are continuing our read of Granted, and we are on page 179, chapter 28. And we left Afia singing songs which, according to Afia and other fairies, kind of drive certain animals crazy. And I actually listened to a few of the songs. Green Sleeves, Come Fly With Me by Frank Sinatra, and a few others yesterday, and I do want to share those with you this week. I could kind of see how a fairy singing one of those songs might irritate, maybe even a hawk. So let's see how it worked, and we're on chapter 28. Afia Fidgets prided herself on her forethought. Charlie often mocked her for setting her clothes out the night before, or sharpening all 6 pencils at her desk, even though she never used more than one. The only way to stay 1 step ahead is to think 2 ahead. Had she been thinking 2 steps ahead at that moment, she might have reconsidered her plan, since it probably would have looked like this. Step 1, sing to the bird until it lets go of you. Step 2, fall to your death. There was little time for reflecting on it now, however, as she plummeted headfirst hundreds of feet down. She acted on instinct instead, unfolding her one good wing to its full span, concerned that the other was too busted to do her any good. Even an accomplished flyer can do only so much with one wing. However, and the best Afia did was slow her descent, catching what little wind she could to start spinning, making a vortex toward the surface, which she noticed with a mixture of hope and despair held an oval of green water. A softer landing, at least. Afia angled as much as possible, aiming her body toward the scum-dappled surface of the pond, ignoring, not forgetting, just choosing not to acknowledge the fact that she couldn't swim. Afia hit the surface sideways, out of control, her good wing barely folding in time. She went under, blue hair pillowing out above her, the bracing chill stealing what breath she had left. The water was dark and murky, and she couldn't see the mud-covered bottom, though she knew she was sinking quickly toward it. She could hear nothing. She twisted to get upright, kicking out with her arms and legs, but her uniform grew heavy and weighed her down. Her sticky, strip-covered boots felt like blocks cemented to her feet. She pushed harder, sensing the light playing on the surface above her, her lungs prickling, then burning, then begging. Her arms windmilled. Even her one good wing trembled, aching to fly her to the surface. A deep breath, she thought. That's all I want. Her vision started to fog over. The murky green of the water was giving way to gray and black. She thought of the ephemeræ. Back in the haven, the names etched into the wall. No, not like this. This can't be how it happens. She kicked her legs one last time, like a frog's, willing herself back to the surface, breaking free just long enough to take a breath. Except she took water with it, choked once, and then felt herself sinking again. The last thing she saw before going back under was something huge moving toward her. Underneath, it was quiet again, and Afia closed her eyes and wondered if somewhere there weren't magical creatures who granted wishes for fairies, the same way fairies granted them for people, and if there were rules about which wishes you could grant and which you couldn't. And if there was a limit to the number of wishes, and how lucky would you have to be to get yours? She felt an ache deep inside, blossoming outward. She thought of Charlie and Paulo and even Barnabas Squint. She thought of Cassara Quinn and, oddly enough, of the boy at the diner, the one in the green jacket with that look of longing in his eyes. She thought of all the wishes that she would never get to grant. The tightness around her chest intensified. She felt something hard against her back. She felt her body move, a rush in her ears, the burst of light against her eyes. She took a first instinctive gulp of air, coughed up a spray of water, then choked down another breath and another. She could feel herself moving, but was too delirious to do anything else but breathe. Yet she knew someone had heard her. I'm going to read just a little bit, page 182. Afia opened her eyes to reveal something warm and rough pressed against her face. The last thing she remembered was seeing the sky again, the burning in her lungs, and a feeling of weightlessness. And now there was a pink, scratchy thing leaving a trail of spit along her cheek. Afia reached out with both hands, shoving it away, then pushed herself backward in the grass, out of reach, blinking against the sun and the profile of the giant beast hovering over her. Oh, you are awake. I can stop licking you now. Afia looked up into a pair of giant brown eyes. Sam? Yes, Sam barked. His fur was dripping. He was soaked to the bone. You saved me? The dog nodded, then barked again. Oh, yes, that is exactly what I did. I saved you. You were up in that tree and you were taken by a very big bird, and we played chase, but it was not a good game because birds are very fast and don't come down, and I can't jump high enough to get them. Plus, the bird looked scary and... Wait a minute, Afia interrupted. You came after me? She wasn't certain how long she'd been airborne, how far the hawk had carried her, but it felt like a fair distance. All that way? Sam nodded. I had to run my fastest to follow that bird, so I did. I got a hold of your bag and I followed it, and then I saw you fall into the water and try to swim. But you are not a very good swimmer, and I am a very good swimmer. So I came to get you, and I got you, but you were sleepy. So I woke you up, and then you said my name, and now I am telling you all about it. I think I really like Sam. I think he has a very kind heart. And we're going to stop there at the bottom of page 183, chapter 29, and we'll begin there tomorrow. Thank you so much, sixth graders. Hope you had a good day, and take care of yourselves. Bye now.